with Gorman.
Hello, you're listening to Gorman. Now, let's get right into it because I have a lot to talk about this episode. Please hold your calls until the Watching the Watchers segment.
Two minutes of truth.
It's time for 2 minutes of truth, and frankly, I am ticked off right now. Eddie Edison is a great man. He is a patriot. He is a truth seeker. And he is one of the most trustworthy men I have ever met in my entire life. And yet, the Stock Pine Falls Sheriff's Department thinks it is within their purview to take in Eddie Edison with no call whatsoever. This is a man who has served our country. What did they think they would find with Eddie? Eddie is as upright a man as I have ever met in my entire life. I trust him more than anyone. Perhaps more than my father. Eddie does not deserve the treatment that he has received at the hands of Sheriff Stanley. You know, Eddie told me, after this whole ordeal, that the Sheriff's Department tried to use a polygraph test on him. Well, the joke's on them, because Eddie has been tortured before. Eddie can withstand any interrogation that they throw his way. I know for a fact that Eddie is totally unsusceptible to polygraph tests, so good luck on that one, Sheriff Stanley. I think that it is time that we as a community stand up to these injustices, these state-funded injustices. These people have no oversight whatsoever, and frankly, it disgusts me. Now for the next segment. This has been 2 minutes of truth.
It's time for Ask Gorman.
Okay, this is Ask Gorman, where I answer the best questions that the audience has put forward. Derringer Jones asked, "Hi Gorman, concerned citizen here. Am I the only one that finds it suspicious that the Sheriff's Department claimed to be handing out 8 different flavors of donuts for free?" Well, Derringer, I find that suspicious too. Since when did they do anything for free? It has to be a cover-up. Well, I'll tell you what. I went down there, and there were apparently no donuts left. They couldn't even answer what flavors they were supposed to be. I'll tell you what taste was left in my mouth upon leaving the Sheriff's Department. 8 flavors of conspiracy, that's what. You know what, Derringer? Mr. Jones, you are absolutely right. I do not trust the Sheriff's Department as far as I can throw them. This is incompetency in the extreme. I mean, the Sheriff's Department is so susceptible to infiltration. They leave personal information wide open. And Sheriff Stanley has shown no indication that he can even be responsible for handling private information. I mean, Eddie, my good friend Eddie Edison, when I was talking to him, told me, proved this point by hacking into their system. I mean, it is astounding that these people are paid with taxpayer money. Let me put it this way. Would you trust a bank if someone could hack into your personal banking information just by guessing your bank manager's favorite flavor of donut? This is the level of incompetency we're dealing with here. Frankly, I think that we would be better served by a private militia I'm still working on the ins and outs of that one, the details, but that's just something I've been thinking about recently. I'd love to hear what you have to think. The next question is from Troy Ollis. Troy writes, I was at a bar, just catching up with old friends. I only ordered some water, but somehow I got blind drunk. I told my missus they must have slipped something in the water when she come bail me out of the jail for disturbing the peace. I swear it was a setup, and Sheriff Stanley implanted some kind of microchip in my brain while I done passed out. What are your thoughts on the sheriff, Gorman? Well, I have many thoughts on the sheriff, Troy, and none of them are good. I have less respect for that man than most men. But I will say this for him. He is a evil with a lowercase e. This does not sound like something that Sheriff Herb Stanley would be capable of. I think that you might be dealing with the feds here. This sounds like it's the work of some suits. I don't think that Sheriff Stanley could implant a microchip in your brain, but he might have turned a blind eye to some higher-ups, some FBI fellows doing shady business in Stockpine Falls. It's not so ridiculous to me. Our next writer asks, Hey Gorman, just wondering if you could offer a comment about the groundwater incident. There is always one, and this will be the last time that I say this. I cannot disclose any information about the groundwater incident. I will maintain my innocence. However, this is a matter for the courts to decide, and I will not jeopardize my case. Thank you. Don't forget to leave any questions you have in the comments section, and I will try to get to them in our next episode. Now it's time for our next segment.
A meeting of minds.
Last episode, I had the pleasure of talking to Marilyn Bates. Marilyn had some interesting things to say about some suspicious activity at her diner. I've organized to call Marilyn again, so I'm just gonna get onto her now. Marilyn? Just calling now. Hello, Marilyn?
Hey, President. Oh, hi, Gorman.
How are you, Marilyn?
I'm doing just fine. Thanks for asking. And you know what, Gorman? I have a few developments on our little chat last week that I think you'll be interested in.
Oh, do tell.
Well, so just this morning, I was serving King Lucy his salad, and I happened to glance up, and who do you think I see out the window?
Who?
Jeffrey Jensen himself.
Oh,
And what
my.
do you think he's doing? Loading boxes on the back of his rust-bucket old truck, the town eyesore. Boxes, Gorman, of sugar packets. The exact same brand as the ones at my diner. Now, I knew something untoward with the foot, Gorman, and I thought about what you said about me becoming some kind of middleman against my wishes. So I couldn't wait a minute. I walked right out that door. You know how I can be. My baby used to call me a firecracker. Well, I went up to Mr. Jensen, and I confronted him, and I gave him a piece of my mind. I said, that's my sugar, and just what in our Lord's name do you think they're loading it onto our truck? And he started going off about how, like, his own order this, and 20 feet that, and I thought I told you not to come around and talk to me or my wife anymore, and he completely refused to answer my question. And I will not repeat all of what he said because I don't abide by that language, but some choice words were used, Gorman, starting with some choice letters if you catch my drift.
Interesting. And even if he wasn't siphoning sugar packets from your diner, he had to know that looked suspicious, right?
Well, he started getting real aggressive, Gorman, and I started to fear for my safety. So I called out for help. And he gets into his truck and flees the scene. I mean, Gorman, everything about that man makes you think he's got something to hide. Does he expect us to believe that all that sugar going into neighborhood watch instant coffee? I don't think so.
He raises the hair on the back of my neck as well, Marilyn. Now, I'm going to change pace a little bit. You and I are both big believers in the stalk pine hog. The stalk pine hog, obviously, the spiritual guardian of our town. He visits us good people of Stockpine Falls in times of need, and you actually had a run-in with the Stockpine Hog. Would you care to share that with us?
Well, I will. You know what, Gorman, I will. Well, see, it was not 6 months gone since my poor Ben passed away, God rest him. Now, I was just getting out of the shower when I heard the doorbell ring, so I threw on a towel and I went down the hall, and well, there it was in the middle of the hallway. Huge and white, just like people say, a big white beast. And it looked at me with these intense blazing eyes, and well, I almost fainted. I was so surprised, but then it sort of huffed, through its snout, sort of just huffed, and I felt this immense power just flow through my body. And I was just overwhelmed with the feeling of comfort and love, and well, I knew it was my Ben come back from beyond the veil to show me that he was thinking of me and that he loved me. And
that's incredible.
Yeah, well,
so this hog was the reincarnation or remanifestation of your dear departed Ben.
That's what I believe, Gorman.
Was it a spiritual being? Was it physical?
Gorman, it was the most physical experience that I have ever had in my entire life. It went through my body. I can't even describe it, Gorman. It was transcendental. And I don't believe in, magic or anything. I don't believe in that sort of stuff usually, but I know what happened to me. I saw it with my own eyes,
That is incredible. Now, before we went to air, you were telling me that you overheard some kind of argument at the Stock Daily?
Oh, that's right. And I was going to ask you if you knew anything about what went down there. Yeah, I just locked up for the night, and I was headed on home. And as I was passing the building, I thought I heard raised voices inside. Sounded like someone in there was going on like 2 raccoons and a Mini Cooper.
Incredible. And
that's right.
Do you know who was involved in this dispute?
Well, I saw Nancy Padanek, I think, the editor of the paper. It seemed like she left in a real hurry. She didn't seem very pleased about something.
Nancy
But I couldn't
Pasternak.
tell you what it was.
Nancy Pasternak, you say?
That's right.
Interesting. Okay, well, thank you very much for this conversation, Marilyn. It's been very enlightening.
Thank you for calling me, Gorman. And hopefully we'll see you around the diner sometime soon.
I look forward to it.
All right, well, we'll have a nice slice of pecan pie and a cup of hot water waiting for you, just like you like it.
Thank you very much, Marilyn, and I'll speak to you later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Wonderful lady, wonderful lady.
Watching the Watchers.
Now it's time for Watching the Watchers, where you get to call in and tell me any strange things you've seen going about in Stockpine Falls. We have our first caller. Hello, you're on air with Gorman.
Gorman, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
I've got a couple of questions for you, if that's okay, mate. Can I shoot them your way?
Go ahead.
First question, why are you so defensive of Eddie, man?
If you knew Eddie half as well as I knew Eddie, and this goes for all of you, Eddie is a terrific man. I trust him with my life. I trust him with my life savings. There's not much more to say. Sometimes you just get a feeling about people, and everything about Eddie's behavior supports that gut feeling that I had that this is a good man. Does that clear up your question?
I mean, to an extent it does, Gorman. I have another question for you, if that's okay.
One more.
What's your whole stance on this missing girls situation? The linking in ages and just the sheriff's kind of nonchalant attitude about it all?
Listen, You have asked two different questions here. One about the girls and another about the sheriff. I do not believe the sheriff is looking into this with any bit of sincerity or endeavor. However, I also think that there's more to this than meets the eye. I have been doing my own digging and I am putting together a theory, but I do not care to share mere conjecture on my program. So when I have a full theory, I will share it with all of you. And that is my promise.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. We'll await your theory, Gorman.
Thank you for calling. We have another caller.
I have been doing my own digging, and I am putting together a
Hello, we have a bit of feedback there.
Oh, hello?
Hello, you're on air with Gorman.
Oh, hello.
How are you today?
Hello.
Hello, this is Gorman speaking.
Hi, Gorman. We're just wondering what REAL stands for.
REAL. Well, it was a long time ago that I put together this name, and I must say I was drinking a little bit, so I can't exactly recall. Funny story, one of my friends from college actually has the original notepad that I came up with the idea on, so I'll try and get back to him.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. One more call. Hello, you're on air with Gorman. Hello? Just one moment. Hello, you're on air with Gorman. Can you hear me?
I can, Gorman. Can you hear me?
I can. Do you have any questions for me?
Gorman, I wanted to hear about your experience seeing the hog.
Seeing the... Okay, this is an interesting story. When I first moved to Stockpine Falls, I was 15 years old, and it was a turbulent time for me, to say the least. And I remember I was moving with my mother, and I was quite lonely at this point in time. And I was walking down Lincoln Street, and in the distance, say 300 yards away, I see this shimmering figure, but it's not human. It's bovine, and it is white. And I think, oh my, what is this thing? And as I look into its eyes and it looks into mine, I felt all of that loneliness that a boy of 15 feels when he's been separated from his friends. I felt all of that loneliness just fade away. And I knew that I was held and I was watched by a being that was bigger than me.
Thanks, Gorman.
Thank you so much for calling. We have time for one more call. Hello, you're on air with Gorman.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Thanks, Gorman.
Who's Martha Marrow? Do you know who she is?
Sorry, Martha Marrow?
Yeah.
I haven't heard I'm not familiar with this name, but if this is something that you're trying to get to the bottom of, I encourage you to always seek the truth. Truth seeking is a hard gig, okay? You need to get a shovel and you need to dig. I don't know this Martha, but I do know that there are 3 women missing, 3 women that I know personally, and that's where my attention lies right now.
And how do I see the truth?
That's something you have to ask yourself. Sometimes, what I like to do when I'm faced with a difficult question or a conundrum is I run myself a bath and then I ask myself some questions, hard questions, and I let the answers just come to me. Don't think too hard.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that's all we have time for with Watching the Watchers. Thank you for calling in. I look forward to seeing you next episode. Thank you so much for supporting me, and I hope that we as a town can get through this. Thank you so much.